if you talk from ecosystem, so ecosystem usually it provides various services. So usually when we talk from the perspective of the services that are provided by an ecosystem, usually we may have some provisioning services. Provisioning services. So can you able to recollect what are the important provisioning services that are provided by an ecosystem to living organisms? Provisions. What do you mean by provisions? Generally, you will go to provisional stores. So in provisional stores, you will get various ingredients per your requirements. Like let's say you go to provisional store and you purchase rice, you will purchase dal, you will purchase some other things to drink, some other things to go. So provisions. So from the ecosystem also we will get various provisions like let's say food. Food is a provision that we can get from the ecosystem. And in the similar fashion, we will get water. Water is another provision that we may get. And in the similar fashion, we can have, yes, good. So then we can have wood. We'll get wood from the ecosystem. We'll get fiber from the ecosystem, and we will get the various resources from the ecosystem. So the ecosystem can provide various provisions. Either it can be in the form of food, it can be in the form of water, or it can be in the form of the fiber, or it can be in the form of various resources or wood, fiber, etc. So they are nothing but provisioning services.
Sir, oxygen.
Yeah,
Oxygen.
obviously, which is essential for the survival. So it is also a provision. So provision of the air, likewise. Then ecosystem also serves some other service, provides some other services like supporting services. Supporting services. So what kind of supporting services? Now, energy has to be produced. So production of energy, our primary production, it's a supporting. So that life can be supported on the ecosystem. Production of energy is necessary for survival. So primary production of energy production is one supporting service. And then now you see formation of soil formation is one another important thing that is required for existence of life. So soil formation are like nutrient cycling. Nutrients are there, and those nutrients has to be continuously replenished, continuously released or regulated in the atmosphere. So we can have nutrient cycling has one another supporting function that is performed by the ecosystem. Okay, likewise. So there are some services, and then we can have certain regulating services done by an ecosystem. Regulating services. So what are regulating services? Like, let's say, for example, you can say simple things like water purification of the water, or like, let's say, like regulation of the climate, or climate, if climate becomes extreme, then life cannot be sustained. And think, for example, controlling of the diseases, like diseases has to be controlled, and such kind of services are nothing but regulating services. Purification of the water, or like controlling of the
The
diseases.
nutrient cycling will come under regulating services. So
So
nitrogen cycle, carbon cycle, all will come under regulating services.
some nutrient cycles may also, we can say, for example, water regulation of the water levels. So that may become a regulating service, likewise. Okay, but whereas generally it is supporting the ecosystem by doing that. So we can consider them as supporting services as well. Okay, so some nutrient cycles can be called as regulation. Okay, regulating services, likewise. So then ecosystems will also generally provide some cultural services. Like usually you can have some things like you can go for ecotourism, or you can have some things like for recreation purpose, you may go. So for all that kind of things leads to provision of certain services called cultural services. So generally ecosystem have provisioning services, supporting services, regulating services, and cultural services, likewise. So that is one. So apart from this, so ecosystem will also have certain specific functions. So what are the basic functions of an ecosystem? So when we look from the point of functions of an ecosystem, usually production of the energy or ecological productivity is one thing. Ecological productivity is one important function. Okay. So here we are discussing with respect to functions. So what is the common difference between functions and services? Functions and services. Services is different and functions are different. So how can you differentiate quickly? Can you say? See, service is nothing but the facilities provided by the ecosystem, irrespective whether it is useful or not useful, that is one. Whereas function is nothing but it's the kind of duty of the ecosystem. What an ecosystem has to do for survival of the life. So that is nothing but function. Like function is nothing but it's the duty that is performed by an ecosystem. So first function or first duty that is performed by an ecosystem is ecological productivity, that is production of the energy. If energy is not produced by autotrophs, then everything we cannot expect. So nothing would be existing. So one first and foremost important thing is ecological productivity. Okay. And then second important function that we can expect or that we can think from the perspective of the ecosystem. So what is the other functions? Can you say any other thing? Now energy is produced. So this energy would be transferred from one tropic level to other tropic level. So that process of transfer of energy from one tropic level to other successive tropic levels is nothing but energy flow. Energy flow. Okay. And this energy is usually dependent upon various nutrients. There are so many resources that helps in the storing of this energy and all those things. So there are various nutrients that are required for the survival of the living organisms. So other important function that is performed by an ecosystem is nutrient cycling. Nutrient cycling. So these are the most and foremost important functions that are performed by an ecosystem. Okay.